When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes, is the answer. Now, here is the host of The Long Bearded Guy, the Chief Catalyst, Strategist Guide at Jewel International, Gordon D. Melville.
Everybody, welcome to The Long Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. Welcome to Red Fridays. That's Red, R-E-D, is remember everyone deployed. That's they're willing to stand on the wall, stand in the fray for us. I want to make sure we honor them because that they don't need to do that. They do it because they feel that's their calling, and so I appreciate that, and we want them to know that. So that's with red vest, right? Red Fridays. So let's get going. Today we're going to talk about, and I'm going to say this without a lisp. It sounds like maybe I have a lisp, but I don't. Know thyself. You've heard me talk a lot of ask the question, who you be? Who are you being? So know thyself, S-H-E-L-F, shelf, like bookshelf. We're going to talk about books and reading and why you should do that, and what are good authors, and what are good titles, and what's the benefit of that? Why would you ever want to do that? Whether it's an Audible or whether it's a physical book, why would you do that? So when I can know my shelf, if I know the books that are on my shelf, it's going to say something about who I am. It's also going to dictate how big or small I can grow, because all pouring all that new information in is what's going to expand my mind. And once it's expanded, it can't go back. So there's a whole bunch of good reasons why you'd want to read, and people go, oh, Gord, I don't have time. And I'm like, what I just heard, with all due respect, is I don't want to. Because if you wanted to, you'll find the time. The things you want to do, you find the time. You make the time. If it's a priority, you figure it out. And so, you know what? I'm going to challenge you today, as I do on every show. Hey, you know what? If it's a priority to intentionally grow, part of that is you have to build and put in new information. You remember we talk about not being able to pour from an empty cup. And I said, why are you pouring from an empty cup? Just don't tip the cup. Just keep pouring good stuff in the top, and the overflow goes to the people around you. The good stuff I'm talking about pouring in the top, some of that stuff is books. Some of that stuff is courses or classes or workshops or Boxed Inside Out. Great example of a good thing to put in the top. That way, it's always good stuff going in the top. There's not one Harlequin romance down here, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's your thing. But you know what? If you want to grow intentionally, personally develop, you have to read personally developing type stuff. Well, what is that? Well, personal development stuff that's going to work on me, or you're reading an autobiography of somebody else, because that will teach you, or a biography of somebody else that will teach you. Not that you can't learn from other things, but there's a specific type of book that you want to try and read. And so we're going to talk about that today. Today, we're going to talk about know thy shelf. So what are the books on your shelf? Do you know what's there? And are there any books on your shelf? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So welcome. You're, like I said, you're with the Long Bearded Guy. I've got my mug, my special mug. Thank you so much for that, with herbal tea. It's not coffee. And you know what, that may shock you based on I seem to be a little amped up. So that's good, I think. But anyway, thank you for being here. I deeply appreciate you being here. By the way, you've got about 30 seconds to try and find yourself something to write with and something to write on, whether it's your journal, whether it's a notebook, whether it's something, because you're going to want to remember some of this information, and you're not going to remember it later if you don't write it down. So I'm challenging you, go get something to write with, write on, and you've got about 30 seconds to do that. While you're gone, for those of you that know me, you know who I am. For those of you that don't know me, I'm on a mission to positively change the lives of every man I meet by raising their EQ, their emotional quotient, their emotional intelligence. And it's not really an intelligence, it's a quotient. So I'm trying to raise that, not just for men, but for everybody. But my avatar are men, entrepreneurial men and pro athletes. That's the people I serve mostly. and that's been expanded a little bit. But so I'm the founder and CEO of Jeweler International. I'm a champion mindset mentor for a pro basketball team that just had their winningest season ever. Went to the finals. I'm a multi-award winning international best-selling author multiple times. I'm an international keynote speaker, blah, 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 blah. I teach the 7 levels of emotional intelligence for men. I'm a mentor. I'm a champion mindset mentor. I talk to people, entrepreneurial men, pro athletes, anybody that will listen essentially to what they need to know to move themselves forward, what they need to know to master the one piece of their whole life they can control. And I want to say that again, control is an illusion outside of yourself, your mind. So what you think and what you do are the only things you can control. You can influence others. If you think anything else, it's you can think it if you want, but it's a misnomer. It's not. That's not correct. We can't control. If you have children or pets, you know very quickly, hey, control is an illusion. I can't actually control. I can't. But we don't spend any time looking after ourselves. How much time and energy do you spend managing and looking after, mastering control of the one thing you can control, your own mind, which dictates what you do, right? What you think is what you do, becomes what you do. If you do it long enough, that becomes your habit. So it's important to pay attention to what you're thinking because it's going to show up in your actions. I'm excited to have you find me here on whether you're on Apple TV, Google TV, Amazon Fire, iHeartRadio, anywhere you listen or watch, Spotify, wherever you watch or listen to your stuff, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a live radio show, whether it's TV. If you go to inspiredchoicesnetwork.tv, you can get on there. You can find my happy beard in there and all the other hosts. There's some amazing hosts in this network. There really are, and it's led by an incredible human being that's unbelievable and has forgotten more about broadcasting than some of us will ever know. And I owe her a ton. And thank you so much. Massive gratitude. Same thing for my producer, Sarah. Love her to death. She helps keep me on the straight and narrow. Please like this, love this, share this, subscribe. It's free subscription. It helps the algorithms and it helps pay for the show. So thank you so much. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what I'm looking for is engagement. We have an ignorant embarrassment of riches when it comes to our reach. When it comes to our reach, hundreds and billions, literally, with all the 450 platforms I'm on multiple times a week. So that's wonderful. Thousands of people watch the show or listen to the show every week. That's wonderful. I need engagement. I want you to reach out to me. I want you to make comment. I want you to share the show with people that you know that need it. Your brothers and your uncles and your dads and your sons and your friends and your colleagues at work and anybody that you think needs to hear this stuff, share it with them. And share it on all the platforms. Share it on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. Share it everywhere. Please connect me all over the place. I really would appreciate that. So like, love, share, and subscribe. All right, let's go. Why would you want to read? By the way, I was thinking about it. I moved it out of the way and I thought I was going to take it off my desk. And then I went, no, I won't. That's current week. That's July, the beginning, June, the beginning of June. That's the stack for June. And I'm already halfway through that stack. And today's the 11th. So how do you do that? Where do you find time to do that? Well, it's time management. That's all it is. And it's an interest in what I'm reading. And some of them I'll read through very quickly. The first time I go screaming through it and I go, you know what? That was a really good book. So then I put it on my schedule to read the following month. But the next month I read it slowly and I study through it. And usually if I do that, I'll buy a second copy because I'm going to mess one up by highlighting and writing in the margins and putting tabs and all that kind of thing. At the end of the day, it's going to be one of the copies is going to be all messed up, but I study through it very slowly at whatever pace I need to. I'm not a Game of Thrones fan. I'm that's odd. Maybe I've never watched one single episode of Game of Thrones. With a beard like that, you'd think maybe I had, but I haven't. But there's a quote from Game of Thrones that I think fits this what we're talking about. Because know thyself is a takeoff on know thyself. I'm going to get to know who I am, who I be by what I read. That's going to help me identify, peel the layers, peel the layers. So if I know my shelf, if I know what the books are on my shelf, if I read the books that are on my shelf and I've chosen them wisely, it's going to help me know myself. I'm going to know who I'm being. I hope that's clear. It's who am I being? And if I know my shelf, I can know myself. So the quote from Game of Thrones is, my brother has his sword, King Robert has his warhammer, and I have my mind. And a mind needs books as a sword needs a whetstone, if it is to keep its edge. Whoa, that's awesome. Tyrion, I think I'm probably messing that up. I apologize to the character. But again, my brother has his sword, King Robert has his warhammer, and I have my mind. And a mind needs books as a sword needs a whetstone if it is to keep its edge. Powerful, 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 powerful. We need to be able to keep our edge. There's a whole bunch of benefits. The link between reading and success is thought to be driven by the desire for knowledge. Keep in mind, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. The use of that knowledge, that's powerful. If I know everything about everything, it doesn't mean anything, nothing literally, if I don't use it. If there's nothing there to use, it doesn't mean, if I can't use it, it doesn't mean anything. I might as well not know it, as a matter of fact. So reading makes us better thinkers by improving our critical thinking and problem-solving skills. It boosts our general and specific knowledge and develops our social and communication skills. Very generally. Okay, here's a bunch that are very, very quick. All right. And I'm going to try and do, there's, I don't know how many there are on here. There's a bunch on here. I'm not going to do them all. I'm going to do a piece of them. Okay. Reading is food for the brain. It improves cognitive processes and makes us more empathetic. It makes us smarter because of putting more information in. We become more knowledgeable. Reading reduces stress. Anybody have stress? Yeah, me too. So you know what? It'll help reduce stress. It'll help reduce stress. It'll promote, reading promotes wellness. You feel better. Why? Because you're pouring into yourself. And depending on what you read, if it's an uplifting, positive type thing, that puts you in a higher vibration. When your vibration goes up, you feel better. Low vibration is where depression hangs out. Low vibration is where the negative emotions hang out, right? Anger, frustration, stress, anxiety, all these things hang out on the bottom end of the vibration. If you can raise your vibration, you improve and promote wellness. It helps your wellness. Reading will help combat Alzheimer's and dementia. Why? Because it keeps your brain active. It keeps your mind snapping and doing its thing, right? You're thinking about stuff quick. Boom, 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 boom. It'll help with Alzheimer's and dementia. The more you read, they say the more you do puzzles, the more you do crosswords, the more you do whatever it happens, literally whatever it happens to be, you're keeping your brain going. Reading will help us sleep. And that's what a lot of people tell me, Gord, it's the greatest thing. I sit down with a book and boop, I'm out. I can't get through the book because I keep falling asleep. Well, great. So reading helps with sleep. Reading will help improve your relationships. Why? Because you're learning, you're expanding your mind. You're learning new things, which makes you a better conversationalist because you're sharing stuff. I'm just going to make a quotation here so I know where I stopped. I'm going to do some more, but I have to take a quick break. I want to do a quick shout out before we go to Jose Escobar, as the founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. but check out his Connected Leaders Academy membership to take your business to the next level. This is the perfect tribe to learn, grow, and connect like never before. The Connected Leaders Academy tribe brings together some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. Set up a virtual coffee with Jose Escobar today, and you can reach him at theentrepreneursbookshelf.com. Theentrepreneursbookshelf.com. It's an incredible group. It's growing by leaps and bounds. Between 18 and 20 different countries, I believe, already. Almost every state in the union he's in. So it's incredible group. And so if you're an entrepreneur with a history of success and your ego will fit in a room, he wants to talk to you. So reach out to him. Theentrepreneursbookshelf.com is where you can reach him. And don't forget, as we go to a quick break here, to pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. Why? Because it will ground you. It will help you process what you're hearing. It will keep you alert, not alert, alert. It'll keep you awake. Pause and breathe. As we go to a quick break here, don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about some more benefits of reading. We're going to talk about some books, talk about some authors. Don't go anywhere. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. I'll be right back.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me. Gordon D. Melville, the long-bearded guy on Inspired Choices Network. Today, we're talking about Know Thy Shelf, like bookshelf, Know Thy Shelf, which is a bit of a tongue-in-cheek. It's a little bit of a different way to say who you be, right? It's if I know my bookshelf, if I know what I'm reading, if I even have a bookshelf. I know lots of people that don't even have a bookshelf. If you have a bookshelf, if you don't have one, get one. And if you have one, what's on it? And are you reading stuff that's pouring into you in a positive way? Because there's lots of good benefits of reading if you're reading good stuff. There's nothing wrong with reading, fantasy and some. I love reading spy novels and things like that. If I'm not reading personal development type stuff, I love spy stuff. I love stuff about human behavior. But again, learning about human behavior is helping me grow. It's helping me expand my mind. It's helping me understand people. So it's kind of a good thing that it's something I enjoy. But knowing my shelf will help me know myself. And most people don't know who they're being. They don't know themselves. The more I can pour into myself by what's on my shelf, I guess sound like anyway, green eggs and ham. Anyhow, and I don't have a lisp, by the way. I'm not sure who the schmuck was that decided to put an S in that word. That's just cruel. But anyway, know thy shelf. Know thy shelf. We're talking about benefits. Why would you read in the first place? And whether you do that as a hard copy in your hand, like a physical copy, I love how books feel, so I prefer to do it that way. And if I'm listening to an Audible, if I do that in my car, I sometimes I'll do that. I used to love to do that, but I hear stuff I love to. Oh, that's really good, but I'm driving and I can't write it down, which frustrates me. And I'm like, I can't keep pulling over to write the stuff down. So I end up just listening to it sometimes as I read it, which reinforces it. It puts it in multiple different ways. Because if I just listen to it, it's going in. I'm hearing it go in. But if I read it on the page, as I listen to it, then my eyes are seeing it, my ears are hearing it. I can add one if I say the words out loud as I'm following along. If I read it out loud, now I'm saying it, I'm seeing it, I guess. I'm seeing it, I'm saying it, I'm hearing it all at the same time. Is 3 ways to put the information in really quick. You want to learn something fast? Or have it really, sometimes I'm not sure about you. I have these things where once in a while I try and read, and I'm reading. I have to go back and read the same paragraph over and over and over and over, partly because maybe I fell asleep, partly because maybe I didn't understand. So I go back up and go, okay, wait. I need to read that again because I don't think I read that right. I'm not understanding what I just read. So I need to go back up and read it again. But 3 different ways like that, putting it in 3 different ways helps the cognitive part of that and understanding. So we were talking about benefits of reading. Why would you do it? And there's a whole bunch. I was just sharing some. Some more are reading inspires success because you're reading about other people that made it. You're reading about other people that got through hard stuff and still succeeded. There's so many stories of people that had really brutal upbringing or really hard childhood or went through horrific stuff that turned around and made the choice to go, that's not going to define me, and I'm going to go in a positive direction, and have done wonderful things and changed the world and had a massive positive impact on the world. So reading will inspire success in you as well as other people around you, because as you grow, other people around you will go, oh, you know what? I want to plug into that. Reading will decrease loneliness and social isolation, which sounds weird because you sit down with a book by yourself, you're isolated, right? But when you do that, you pour yourself into the book, you're now in the characters in the book. You're finding out about what's in the book. An extrapolation of that is to join a book club. Now you're not by yourself, even to sit down and read it. There's a group of you, or even if you're reading it by yourself and then you get together to discuss it, you're thinking about discussing it as a group while you're reading it, in which case you don't have isolation anymore. Reading is good for your brain. That goes back to the whole piece about Alzheimer's and dementia, right? It's expanding. And once your brain's expanded, and it doesn't mean it physically gets bigger, once your mind has expanded, it can't go back, right? Once it's expanded, it stays out there. It doesn't go down again. You continue to go out and you continue to expand and you continue to expand. Your mind continues to grow. Reading will introduce you to new ideas and invite you to solve problems. It'll give you some new ideas. We talked about putting good stuff in the top. That's what that is. Those are good ideas you're putting in the top. Hey, that's a great idea. When I'm reading, I always have a journal with me or something to write on. And usually it's a journal, but I'll write down, oh, that was really good. I like that. Why? Because it sticks out in my head. People have asked me, do you go back and reread them later? Would you go back through 2 years later, 3 years later, 5 years later, whatever, and read the same book again? I've got books I've read a dozen times. I've got several books I've read multiple dozens of times. People go, why would you do that? You already read it. Yeah, but the next time I read it, I'm a completely different human. I'm in a different space. So different things stick out for me because I've grown. I've intentionally grown. So when I do that, the next time I pick up that book, different things pop out for me. And some of the stuff that I underlined or looked at and went, well, why? That's amazing that hit me before. I wonder why that hit me. It doesn't resonate now. But this, I didn't underline. Why didn't I underline that? That really resonates with me. That happens because we've grown. We've moved forward. So it introduces us to new ideas and invites us to solve problems. It also gives us a way to mark our growth, right? You read the book, you come back 2 years later, read it again, you go, wow, you know what? Look where I've grown. Look where I've come, how far I've come. It's one of the best things for me to be able to go back 35 years this summer. We'll mark 35 years of writing in a journal every day. I can go back 35 years and find out what I was doing in my mid-20s, what I was fumbling with in my mid-20s. It shows me where I've grown. Reading is good for your brain. It introduces us to new ideas. Reading makes us a better writer. So if you happen to like to write, reading will make you a better writer. You have aspirations of writing a book or writing a chapter in a co-authored book or contributing to a magazine or what, an article in a newspaper, or if you want to do that, reading will help expand your vocabulary. It helps you be a better writer for yourself. Reading will improve your conversational skills because you'll know lots about a lot of different things, or maybe a little bit about a lot of different things, and things that you really, really are excited about. You'll know lots about those things, right? You'll know lots about certain topics. You can talk and talk and talk and talk. Improves our conversational skills. Reading strengthens worldviews and convictions. Why do you believe what you believe? Reading will help with that. It'll strengthen. Why? Because it's challenging what you think you believe. It's challenging. Hey, is that what you believe? No, I don't believe that. Or yeah, I believe that. So there's some good reasons why I believe that. That's awesome. So it will strengthen your worldview and convictions, and it will make them well-rounded. If you're only going to the same place over and over and over and over and over, we have a neighbor to the south where it's very polarized. And so they're in that hothouse of one side or the other. And I'm not saying what's one side is right or the other side. What I'm saying is both sides get stuck in their hothouse and neither one of them wants to listen to the other side. And so it polarizes and makes people fight. Being able to read different things will strengthen your worldview and your conviction. Why do you believe what you believe? Reading will improve your self-discipline and consistency, because if you commit to do it, you'll do it and 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 do it. So the consistency and the self-discipline grows. Reading challenges your imagination. Wow, I hadn't thought of that before. Or takes you to places you would never have imagined. You can travel the world from a book. It'll challenge your imagination, which is going to expand your mind, which is going to good for your brain. It's going to help combat Alzheimer's and dementia. These things all go together. It will inspire you in general. It will inspire you in general. You have to be able to read. It's such a huge superpower. It really is. The ability to do it. And somebody that can and doesn't is on the same level, tragically, as somebody who's illiterate. Because you can and you just choose not to. That's crazy. That's crazy. We need to be able to use those gifts. I need to take another quick break. We'll do another quick shout out for Jose Escobar, founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Check out the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf to learn more about his morning and evening routine mastery program that is changing people's lives. The program will help you install systems on the bookends of your day to maximize your morning and evening routine. Set up your free strategy session with Jose Escobar today. You want to be able to do that. If you're not doing some kind of thing in the morning and the evening every day, or at least 5 days a week, you're fooling yourself in terms of your efficacy. You're not getting everything out of it, out of your day that you should be or could be. And that's just the reality of it. It really is. If you've got a routine, consistent routine, morning and evening, day after day after day after day, it will make you a completely better human being. It will give you you'll get way more stuff done. So as we go to another quick break here, don't forget to pause and breathe, have some more herbal tea or coffee or whatever it is, wine, whatever you're drinking. And we'll look forward. Again, don't forget to pause and breathe. Don't forget to pause and breathe as we take another quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're talking about know thyself. Kind of a different way to say who you be, but you're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. Don't go anywhere.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
The Connected Leaders Academy is the #1 fastest growing networking community for entrepreneurs. CLA assembles high-level leaders, titans of industry, and business owners under one roof. If you're an entrepreneur looking to grow personally, professionally, scale your influence, develop skills, and expand your network exponentially, the CLA is where you need to be. Want on to more podcasts and shows, speak on more stages, sell more books, products, and services, get more leads, referrals, acquire new clients, develop lifelong friendships, and more. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. Contact Jose Escobar on Facebook or check out www.claglobalsummit.com for more information.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to the longbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. That's me. Where that comes from, I don't know. But it's kind of out of left field. But yeah, you're with me. And we're talking today. Thank you for spending the time, by the way. I really, really appreciate it. I know there's people listening all over the world. There's people listening in their car. There's people listening at work. There's people listening all over the place. So thank you so much for spending some of your finite resource of time with me today. It means the world to me. You could be spending it anywhere and you're doing it with me. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Talking about knowing thyself in terms of the books on your shelf will help understand and know yourself and who you're being. And if you know me at all, you know who you be is a huge, huge deal for me. I think it's a big deal for all of us because a lot of people can't answer that question. Who are you being? Not what you do. Don't tell me that you're an accountant or a police officer or a firefighter or a insurance salesman or a coach or a mentor or it doesn't matter what you are. You're a pro athlete. That's what you do. That's not who you are. We conflate them, especially guys. We conflate what we do with who we are. So what I'm trying to do is separate those things out because what we do has nothing to do with who we are. And when I ask who you be, who are you being, part of what will influence that, who we're being, is if we read, and then what we read, who we listen to, where we're getting information.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
The Connected Leaders Academy is the #1 fastest growing networking community for entrepreneurs. CLA assembles high-level leaders, titans of industry, and business owners under one roof. If you're an entrepreneur looking to grow personally, professionally, scale your influence, develop skills, and expand your network exponentially, the CLA is where you need to be. Want on to more podcasts and shows, speak on more stages, sell more books, products, and services, get more leads, referrals, acquire new clients, develop lifelong friendships, and more. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. Contact Jose Escobar on Facebook or check out www.claglobalsummit.com for more information.
This is the Long-Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Everybody, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for being with me today. I know there's people listening from all over the place, and I really appreciate that. All over the world, they're listening. Some of them are at work, some of them are at home, some of them are on the road. There are people listening from everywhere. So thank you so much for spending your limited resource of time with me today. It's precious, and I really, really appreciate that you're spending some of it with me. We're talking about know thy shelf, bookshelf, as in bookshelf. It's kind of a play on knowing yourself, or who you be. Who are you being? If I know what's on my shelf and I'm reading the right things, it will help me understand and become aware of who I'm being. Because you can't become who you already are. So I'm peeling back the layers. Books will help me with that. Books will help me uncover who I am. It'll help me uncover who I was supposed to be. So but when we talk about books, there's lots of different books. People ask me all the time, Gord, what's a good title? Give me the top 5 books you've ever read. And I can always come up with lots. It's really difficult to come up with the top 5 because there's so many different types of books. But I think, and I'm going to give you a bunch. Probably on another episode, I'll give you some ideas, because I think it's more important to talk about the authors, because some of the authors have write little books, some of them write big books, some of them write, John Maxwell's written dozens and dozens of books, right? Some of them write them in a series. So, but some of them do a one-off and you never see them again. So I want to give you some authors. If you, again, I said, grab your journal, because you're going to want to write these people down, these names down, because, and these are in no particular order. I just started to think of off the top of my head, who are people that have impacted me in a positive way as a writer, or that I've read their book or books, or studied their books over the last 35 years. Who are people that stick out in my mind? People like Jim Rohn, if you know who that is, R-O-H-N, Rohn, Jim Rohn. He died, I want to say late 70s, early 80s, but incredible life skill stuff, journaling stuff. He's got some amazing titles, and whether it's a book, whether it's an audio of him, incredible human being. Get a hold of some Jim Rohn. Brene Brown is a common, she's a lady, a powerful thought leader, and when she talks, she has a way of making complex things sound straightforward and not easy necessarily, but simple. Right? She can take it and make it sound simple. And she's very engaging, and she's got a wonderful delivery, a little bit of an edge to her. And I love that, right? She'll call a spade a shovel. It doesn't change what is, but if Brene Brown is really good. Don McGill Ruiz, he did The 4 Agreements as one of his, which again, revolutionized my life. I read it all the time. I give copies of it away. It's incredible. If you haven't read The 4 Agreements, you need to read The 4 Agreements. You need to read Don McGill Ruiz. You need to read his stuff. And I apologize to my Spanish listeners. I'm probably completely messing up. There's probably some very special way to say Miguel. I'm going to mess it up every time I do it. I just know he's an incredible author. Napoleon Hill, I've studied and studied and studied and studied. There's a whole stack of his stuff back here that are all Napoleon Hill. Incredible thought leader, somebody that was one of the pioneers of some of that stuff. Same with Norman Vincent Peale. Incredible authors. These people are thought leaders that will challenge what you believe. They'll challenge what your thought process is, right? We talked about our worldviews and our conviction. These people will challenge your conviction and your worldview in some cases. But that doesn't happen unless we actually read them, ponder it, chew on it, right? Read it, and I mean, eat the book. Lots of fiber, but really dry. But you know what I'm saying? It's food for your brain. It's putting that nourishment in, that good stuff in. Tony Robbins. I love Tony Robbins. Some people can't listen to him. I love listening to him. Grant Cardone. Again, some people can't do it. Some people don't. So that's something I want to talk about. Don't ever get lost. Don't ever get lost. Don't ever throw out the baby with the bathwater. Oh, I can't listen to that. There's all these people have amazing content. But if you can't get through it, if you can't shut off your preconceived notion of who you think they are or the delivery, you're going to miss some of that good content. And sometimes it's a matter of, okay, so you can't listen to Grant Cardone. Most of them talk the same way. Most of them have the same kind of content over and over and over and over. So find somebody that you can listen to. I know some people that don't like John Maxwell. I love John Maxwell, but some of them go, no, I fall asleep. He puts me to sleep because he's got a kind of a preacher's canter to the way he talks. Some people can't listen to that. Great. Go listen to Tony, that right? Go listen to Grant, that'll keep you awake. But find somebody that resonates with what you're talking about. There are so many. Zig Ziglar, Daniel Priestley. There's so many. Tim Ferriss writes phenomenal. Marcus Aurelius. That's what that book is I keep pulling up. Meditations. It's a great book to get you to think. You want to expand your mind? That's a wonderful book. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. You can get it. It's cheap. Get it on Amazon. James Clear, Tony Robbins, we talked about. Eckhart Tolle, Dale Carnegie. Like all these people are iconic. Stephen Covey, John Maxwell, I talked about. Malcolm Gladwell. How did I forget Malcolm? Darren Hardy. Like there's so many really good authors. Plug into these people. Find out what they're about. Find out what they're about, and then plug into the ones that work for you. And speaking of plugging into the ones that work for you, if any of this resonates with you, if you hear stuff and you go, oh, I need to do more of this. I need to hear more of this. I need to study more of this. I have workshops. I've got something called Box Inside Out. I have a men's and a women's version of it. I've got cohorts that are registering right now for the next ones. So if this resonates and you want to go deeper without busting the bank, you could jump into a group. And if not, if you want, hey, Gord, I want one-to-one, no problem. Let's do that. If you want me to come and speak to your group, to your men's group, to your church group, to your whatever it is, I'm happy to do that. Reach out. You can reach me at thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. And I answer all of my own emails. All of my own email. So reach out. That's engagement for me. That's engagement. Ask me questions. Jump into one of these programs. By the way, I'm also looking for sponsorship. If this resonates with you and you go, Gord, I love what you're doing. I want to be able to, how do I help? I can help. I want to help. How do I do that? There's some very lucrative opportunities for sponsorship that have a global audience that'll plug you in instantly overnight to more than 450 platforms globally, multiple times a week, and thousands of people watch and listen. So reach out to me. Would love to have you partner with us as a sponsor. But however you want to plug into this, plug into it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your loved ones. Share it with people that need to hear this stuff. Maybe it's something you've said to your kids forever. You got to read, you got to read, you got to read. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Mom and dad don't know what they're talking about. Sometimes I know with my 3 sons, sometimes somebody else saying exactly the same thing to them, they go, oh, that's cool. Why? Just because it resonates differently with them. It connects with them in a different way. And they hear it a different way. So share this with other people. Share it with your kids. Share it with others. I need to take another quick break. As I go to this break, don't forget to pause and breathe. You want to try and ground yourself. You want to ground yourself. You also want to energize yourself. You're plugging in. When I say ground, it doesn't mean you're relaxing necessarily. What it means is you're plugging into the ground, which means you're plugging into source. It's like plugging into a wall socket. That's where your energy comes from. It's where your energy comes from. It's important that we plug in. So don't forget to pause and breathe. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. You're with the long-bearded guy on Inspired Choices Network. I'll be right back. Gordon D. Melville.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. You're with Gordon D. Melville, the long-bearded guy on Inspired Choices Network, and we're talking today about knowing thy shelf, knowing your bookshelf, which will help you know who you are. It will help you know yourself. It will help you understand who you be, which is very important because it's foundational to everything else. Everything grows out of that. Literally everything grows out of that, right? Your worth and your value comes from who you believe you are. Once you have worth and value, now the mindset that gets created out of that is coming out of what your worth and what you believe your worth and value is. And if your worth and value is skewed, all of a sudden you're trying to overcome a deficiency, a perceived deficiency that's not really there. And so your mindset's a little skewed. So we want to make sure that the stuff we're reading is going to be helpful. It's going to challenge us. It may challenge our perceptions. It may challenge what we believe. It may challenge the bits and pieces of our life that we're not sure. Why do you believe what you believe? I'm at a point now after 35 years of reading, I'll read stuff I know I don't agree with based on what's on the back of the book. But I'm reading it because it will give me a more well-rounded view of the world and of my own thought process. It'll force me to understand and to look at, why do I believe that way? It'll force me back to understand, why do you believe that? Why does that work that way? And so, and sometimes it'll change. Now, it may not overhaul my thought process, right? It may not completely change my mind, but what it might do is let me tweak it a little bit, right? It may give me a little bit of a different idea. Hey, you know what? I hadn't thought of that way before. Maybe I could pivot here just a little bit. As soon as we close our mind, as soon as I say, I know, my mind shuts off to any more learning because it says, hey, you know what? We already know. It's a fatal flaw of human. We go, hey, I know. We stop learning when that happens. We stop being open to growth, intentional or otherwise. So don't say you know. Keep your mind open. There are certain topics that people talk about where they know what they know and nothing will ever change. This is bedrock. I have all the answers. I have everything I need to know on the. There's some topics we could get into that I'm not going to get into because it would polarize the crap out of everybody. But there are topics that we believe we have the market cornered on all the answers. And incorrectly, by the way. Incorrectly. I don't care who you are or what you know about what. I'll guarantee you there's somebody out there that knows something other than what you know that could add to what you know. There's books out there that can add to whatever it is you think you already know the most about, that they can add more to that. Very few people on the planet that you know, when we say, well, this person's forgotten more about whatever it is than I'll ever know. That's absolutely true, but it doesn't mean they know everything about that topic. That's inconceivable. So as we finish up here, as we wrap up here, I want to do a quick call to action. What are you reading right this minute? What's on your bedside table? What's in your office? What's in your briefcase? What's on the kitchen counter? What's in the bathroom? What are you reading? Are you reading? If there's nothing there, reach out and say, hey, Gord, I need some titles. Can you give me, not that maybe the top 5, give me, and I wrote on here, commit to reading just a minimum of 10 pages per day of something every day, every day, every day, every day. And if you need a title, reach out and ask, and I will give you some titles. thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. If you want to plug into this, you want to help me get the message out with sponsorship, let me know. If you want to plug into Box Inside Out, either a men's or a women's cohort, let me know. If you want more details on that, let me know. thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Or jump into the comments here. Let me know. Thank you for being with me today. Next week is Friday, June 28th. You have to show up to find out what the title is for that week. It's been interesting because they've been changing. And so you need to show up to find out what the next episode title is. What are we going to talk about? I know I am going to do another one of these about books in the next few weeks, but find out for sure what's happening on the 28th, you got to show up. Can't believe that's the end of June already, more than halfway through June. And you know what? Thank you so much for being here. Be courageous. Be unapologetically you. Don't be unapologetically you. Make it another great week. Live out you abundantly with intention. Read some good books. I love you. Massive hugs. I'll see you next week. Leave you with one question. Who are you being? Who are you being? And what are you reading? Know thyself.
Thank you for tuning into the Long Bearded Guy Show. You are appreciated and loved. Gordon D. Melville returns Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, make it another great week, leading with love, powerfully designing, crafting, and living out your positively impactful legacy life you were created for. Big hugs.